Okay, here we go. So Romeo and Juliet, Act 4, Scene 3. In Scene 2, we saw Juliet come home, tell her dad, hey, I'm so sorry, totally, I'll marry Paris. And so her dad, Lord Capulet, was so excited that he said, okay, we're going to move the wedding from Thursday to Wednesday. And in your scene guide chart, you should have put that as being the problem for Act 4, Scene 2, because obviously, if they're moving the day of the wedding up, that means that instead of Juliet taking the poison tomorrow night, Wednesday night, she's got to take it tonight, which would be Tuesday. And it is going to affect Romeo getting Friar Lawrence's letter and all that other good stuff. So at this point, we've got a lot of issues happening in the play. So here we go. Your characters here are going to be Lady Capulet, the nurse, and Juliet. Mostly it's just Juliet after the first page. And she kind of freaks out about taking the potion. So here we go. Juliet and the nurse. Juliet says, Ay, those attires are best, but gentle nurse, I pray thee, leave me to myself tonight, for I have need of many orisons to move the heavens to smile upon a state, which well thou knowest is cross and full of sin. So what Juliet is getting at is that she doesn't want the nurse to stay with her because she has to pray for forgiveness because of all the sins she's committed, like marrying Romeo behind her parents' back, and now apparently going to marry Paris when legally she can't. And remember, the nurse knows about her marriage to Romeo, so she understands. Lady Capulet comes in and says, What, are you busy, ho? Need you my help? And Juliet says, Oh, no, madam. We have called such necessaries as are behoovel for our state tomorrow. So please you, let me now be left alone, and let the nurse this night sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full all in this so sudden business. And Lady Capulet says, Good night. Get thee to bed and rest, for thou hast need. And Lady Capulet and the nurse leave, and now Juliet freaks out, and she says, Oh, farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear that thrills through my veins, that almost freezes up the heat of life. Oh, I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! Oh, what should she do here? My dismal scene I needs must act alone. Oh, come, vial. So she takes out the vial that Friar Lawrence has given her, and she says, and here's your action for the scene. She's worried mainly about three things. So here's the first thing. What if the mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? Oh, no, no, this shall forbid it, and lie thou there. So she says if the potion doesn't work, then she'll stab herself, because she takes out a knife. Second thing she's worried about, what if it be a poison, which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead, lest in this marriage he should be dishonored, because he married me before to Romeo? Oh, I fear it is, and yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried a holy man. How if then I am laid into the tomb? So here's the third thing she's worried about. When I'm laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me. Oh, there's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in, and there die, strangled, ere my Romeo comes? So she's afraid that she'll wake up early and there's no air in the tomb, so she'll suffocate. Going along with waking up too early, she's also worried about this. Or if I live, it is not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the places in a vault, an ancient receptacle, where for these many hundred years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in a shroud, where, as they say, at some hours in the night spirits resort. Oh, alack, alack, is it not like that I, so early waking, with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals hear them run mad? So pretty much she's worried that she'll wake up too early and kind of be driven crazy by seeing her dead ancestors and Tybalt, who's, still very newly buried. She's worried about ghosts. She also says, Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefather's joints, and pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club, dash out my desperate brains? Okay. So at this point, she's really spiraling into a panic attack. And she says that she could wake up early in the tomb, see all of her dead ancestors, see Tybalt's corpse, and freak out. And now she's saying that she could freak out to the point of picking up Tybalt and dancing around madly with his body, and then picking up the bone of one of her other dead ancestors and bashing her head in. So she's really spiraling at this point. And now she says, "Oh, look, methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo that did split his body upon a rapier's point. Oh, stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, Romeo, Romeo! Oh, here is drink, and I drink to thee." And she drinks the vial and falls down on the bed and is hidden by the bed curtains. So even with all this panic, she takes the potion anyway. Which I'm sure a number of you are rolling your eyes and saying, why would she even bother? But there you go. So over in the scene guide, please make sure that for Act 4, Scene 3, your characters are the nurse, Juliet, and Lady Capulet. Your action would be the three or four things she's worried about. In terms of problem or solution, I would say maybe kind of both. Because she's worried that the potion either won't work or kill her, or that somehow it'll go wrong, which would obviously cause a problem. But, if it does work, she's not going to have to marry Paris. So, all good things. All right, if you open up the next video, we will move on to Act 4, Scene 4.